How much truth is in that statement that age is just a number? It must be true to some degree, as we all likely have met some 40-year-olds who look and act in an old way, while we also know some 80-year-olds who still exudes lots of zest for life and who have a spark in their eyes that could light up an entire room. There's also the belief among a large group of society that women are hitting the wall at a certain age, that they become invisible, that they lose attractivity, and that there's no coming back from that fate. There are only two states of being for a flower. It either blossoms or it dies. So we women are sometimes being compared to that flower. We blossom, and after blooming, we slowly die. And the consensus for many men seems to be that this pivotal point for a woman of turning from beautiful into not interesting anymore is somewhere around age 35. From a purely biological standpoint, this of course makes sense, as instinctually the masculine pursues the feminine in order to reproduce, and of course the ability to have children decreases with age for women. It also seems these days that there is a war between men and women, with both sides having different expectations from one another. Postmodern feminism has definitely had a negative impact on our relationship life. And so here I am, a woman in her late 50s, wondering how to define my own value in an era in which I'm age-wise already way past that dreaded wall that I supposedly hit many years ago. There are probably not many women in today's Western world who are unfazed by the topic of aging. The beauty industry, of course, knows this, and besides making billions of dollars on products and procedures for middle-aged customers, even tell young women in their 20s to get into the routine of regular Botox injections just to prevent wrinkles in their face later in life, already preparing them to become lifelong consumers. As young girls, we are being told fairy tales such as Snow White or Sleeping Beauty, in which the beloved heroine is young, beautiful, pure-hearted and soft-spoken, while her adversary is an old, ugly witch with a shrieking voice. From early childhood, we are being impressed by these stories and images about which side we want to be on and who we want to be when we grow up. We get the sense that being young is wonderful and becoming old something to be feared. So once we realize as adults that years are passing by faster and faster as we grow older, there are a myriad of protocols we can try out to help us stay young longer. There is a world of nutrition, of supplements, of biohacking workout routines, of cosmetic products and procedures. Health influencers promise us that if we do this one thing, if we take this one supplement, avoid this one food and so on, our bodies will stay young forever, pretty much. Longevity experts and scientists studying the human genetic code say that it is almost guaranteed that by year 2050 we will be able to live as long as we wish, and it does indeed sound appealing to live in a forever young body but possess the knowledge and wisdom of a 70-year-old. But in the meantime, since we haven't figured out how to live indefinitely, we are confronted with the fact that these bodies will age and that this life doesn't last forever. There is a good reason for that, as well as from a very practical perspective. It would lead to massive overpopulation if there weren't an end to this earthly experience. Plus, it might get boring as well to turn around the sun indefinitely, so to speak, and we might constantly be feeling like we have been there and done that. So it makes sense to leave this all behind eventually at some point and make space for the next generation. Until that point in our life when we all eventually have to die, it would be nice though to live in a society which respects its elders and give them a role like in past centuries when elders were asked for their view on current events, sharing the wisdom they have accumulated throughout a long life. But those days seem to be gone, hence we probably fear old age as a society does not perceive our value any longer. We become invisible and irrelevant. And this irrelevance that's staring us into the eye when we get older is what probably lies at the root of the fear of aging. This fact that we slowly move into oblivion is what none of us anticipated when we were young and when age 40, 50, 60 and 70 were so far away. At the same time, it seems like a cosmic joke that around mid-age we don't only lose our beauty, but often become empty nesters, lose our marriage, experience health struggles, financial and job insecurities. For many of us, every aspect of our old lives falls away around the same time. Many years ago, I read the book titled The Wall by Marlen Haushofer, which was later made into a movie. It is the story of a middle-aged woman who travels to a lodge in the Austrian Alps with her 2 friends and the friend's dog. While the woman stays in the lodge to unpack her luggage, the 2 friends descend to the nearby village to have a drink at the pub, leaving the dog with the woman behind. The next morning, the woman realizes that her 2 friends never made it back to the lodge, so she sets out through the woods to find them. But when she tries to walk past the pasture in the forest beyond it, her path is being blocked by a thick glass wall which separates her from the outside world, and wherever she goes, the glass wall would stop her from walking further, building an impenetrable gate between the side of the lodge and the outside world, a world which seems frozen in time. The story is a psychological thriller about a woman hitting the wall figuratively and literally. She would then, for the coming 2 years, spend her life isolated in the lodge in the mountains, learning basic survival skills such as chopping wood and planting potatoes. I will not reveal the ending of the story, but can highly recommend the book. It is as dark as it is fascinating. In time, the woman would encounter a cow that she would care for in exchange for milk, and also a cat. The dog her friends left behind, the cow and the cat would become her closest and only friends and her source of comfort. In order to not lose count of the days, weeks and months passing by, she would write in her diary daily, detailing and processing her emotions and her thoughts about solitude, about survival, about womanhood, the past and the future. She would write it all down in order to preserve some sanity in this dystopian reality. When I read that book at the time, there was one account from the diary which stood out to me, which was how much she had enjoyed motherhood as a young woman and the regret she was experiencing later about the closeness to her children turning into something else, something like a more strained relationship once the kids had turned into teenagers and then young adults. Many of us parents can relate to this melancholy about our children growing up, even if our connection to them remains loving. And as I mentioned before, the loss of our role as parents, in which we are our children's most important people in their lives until we are not, is often accompanied by other significant losses. The question arises, what is the meaning of it all? What is the meaning of it all coming down to this bizarre state of emptiness in our lives? What are we supposed to do with this new life in which we are obviously not building a career, a family, a home, but in contrast, we lose what once defined our lives? This past year, I played with the idea in my mind of undergoing cosmetic surgery once I'm in my 60s, as I was so uncomfortable with the thought of my face turning from a young, fresh face into an old, tired face. But then I asked myself why I and many women in their 50s and 60s contemplate a facelift. What do we actually want to achieve? Do we just want to stay young forever? Because at some point, unless that science offers us that magic pill that will rejuvenate us completely, at some point, despite health routines and beauty protocols, at some point, our cells will age and there will be an end to this life. Can we accept this is the question I'm asking myself. Is it okay that I'm not the number one person in my kid's life any longer? Is it okay that I now live alone and that a big career move is likely not in store for me? And is it okay that I observe my skin sagging? My answer to these questions is twofold. First, I can live a somewhat healthy lifestyle without obsessing over it, meaning incorporating the occasional glass of wine and pizza into an otherwise healthy diet. Second, there's now a more inward life being lived with more self-reflection and self-awareness. Philosopher Georg Gurdjieff saw our soul as something which is not just automatically there, but as an essence that needs to be built, that needs to be consciously created, that needs to be earned and nurtured. And this evolving as a soul, which is the principle of our being, is very likely taking place after times of loss and change, and often in subsequent solitude. What I also realize when I reflect on loss of my former self is that I don't really mind those lines that have formed around my eyes and my mouth in recent years. There's no reason why I would want to look like a 35-year-old. My fear lies somewhere else. It is the fear of losing my dignity when I'm older. True, no one can take our dignity from us, only we can take that from ourselves. What I'm afraid of, though, is that I could stumble into some undignified behavior, that I would stop caring about myself or others. I do not want to become that older person with a constant angry expression engraved in my face, because the impressions from the world over the past decades were that this life on earth is just cruel and unfair. I don't want to adopt a hunched over posture over time because life's burdens are too heavy on my shoulders. And I certainly don't want to end up in a nursing home where a caretaker who hates their job speaks to me like I'm 5 years old. Arnold Schwarzenegger once said in an interview that it makes him furious that we have to age. It is indeed that loss of control over what is coming that is something we all have to deal with in one way or another. Even some of the most prominent health influencers get sick or die in front of our eyes. So our fear of losing our youth and beauty might be more rooted in this fear of dying. Now, getting back once more to the book The Wall I was talking about earlier, the woman whose life got so intensely and abruptly limited by that glass wall that had appeared like a fortress outside the pastry overnight, was forced to go through an inner journey of self-reflection about the past, about the present and the future, with her survival tools being pen and paper, giving us, the reader, a deep insight into the human psyche in times of loss and change. And maybe when we women, but also men, hit the wall around mid-age, our task too is to go on this inner journey. Life can still be experienced as beautiful, but maybe with different values than we had before. And speaking of physical beauty, yes, we do lose it bit by bit. It is just the nature of life. That flower will just not bloom forever. But maybe we lose this beauty, this light within us, a little less fast if we stay relaxed about the whole process of getting older.